Hey everybody, how's it going? This is the Scrapper Tap Podcast, and I'm Jared Cole. Today I'm going to be giving y'all my predictions for UFC Fight Night Poirier versus Hooker. That one's going to be a great scrap, man. As soon as they released that one, I knew that was definitely a worthy main event for a card, Fight Night card for sure, man. It could have even been a main card for a pay-per-view if you stack the lineup a little bit more. But this lineup, I believe, is a little bit more pretty stacked, man. A little better than last weekend's. I think we're gonna get some better fights. But this last weekend was really good, man. I enjoyed it. And speaking of that one, we're gonna do a quick recap on how I did last week. I didn't do so great, man. I went from 9-10 2 weeks ago to 5-12. Not so hot on UFC Fight Night Blaydes versus Volkolv. We were correct on the main event. Basically, yeah, most people were. He did exactly what Curtis Blaydes did exactly what he said he was gonna do, and ragdolled Volkolv all 5 rounds. He was a bit tired at the end, but he got it done, man. And we'll see what's next for him. He's at the 3rd position already. The only people in front of him, Ngannou, the champion, Stipe, and DC. So we'll see where he goes from there. Another fight I did want to talk quickly about because it stuck out. Obviously, the fight of the night, Josh Emmett versus Shane Burgos. That was a great scrap. I was wrong on that one, but I wasn't sleeping on Josh Emmett at all. He's looking good, man, and he's definitely a contender in that featherweight division. Yeah, man, he's a stud, and shout out to Shane Burgos. He is too. They put up a hell of a fight, and Josh Emmett got it done, man. Another one that stuck out on the prelims only because of all the drama that happened after. Max Roshkoff versus Austin Hubbard. Max Roshkoff came out looking hot in the beginning of the first round. Got a couple takedowns, and then Austin Hubbard took over. And after the second round, Max was depleted. Maybe physically and mentally, I'm not too sure, but that's what it seemed like with the. Sounded like with the coach, because he did a couple interviews after, one with Ariel Helwani. And, maybe Max has some troubles in the gym, but he was 5-0 coming into Austin Hubbard. And, after the second round, he asked to stop the fight, and he actually had to do it about 9 times. The corner tried to persuade him, so I'm not going to get too deep into that. A lot of people are, saying that the coach, that Max had asked too many times, and the coach, was just ignoring his fighter. At the same time, he might have been trying to hype him up. Maybe he knows Max a little better than us. He understands that sometimes he gives up a bit and he needs a little pushing. I don't know. I'm not getting into that, but I hope Max can get another shot, whether it's in the UFC or not. Because there's just something about quitting in the corner. I'm sorry to call it quitting, because who am I to tell any of these fighters to keep going? But when you verbally have to say it 9 times, there's something about that sticks out. But hey, man, if he gets another shot in the UFC or any other promotion, I think he can become a great fighter, man. Like I said, he looked good in the beginning with some takedowns. But that was last week's card. Now we're jumping into UFC Fight Night Poirier versus Hooker. This is going to be a good card. I'm going to run through the prelims, make it pretty quick. Just a couple reasons why I'm choosing which fighter. And then we're going to break down the main card, man. Poirier versus Hooker. This is going to be a good one. So the first fight of the night, I don't know if this is the correct order, because it might be actually, the first fight might actually be the next one I'm going to talk about, but the first fight I'm going to predict is the -105 Jordan Griffin versus the -115 Yusuf Zalal. So we got us a pick'em to start off the night. It's good to see Jordan Griffin back on a card. He was supposed to fight a few cards back, got canceled, and they found him an opponent, which is making his UFC debut, but he is not a slouch, man. He's really good. I did my research, and he's a tough fighter, and, a lot of people are taking him to get this win, but, I like Jordan Yusuf. I'm sorry. Combined names right there. I like Jordan Griffin. He's 1-3 in the UFC, but his one win was over TJ Brown, which, trains with Doug Nasty Bryce Mitchell. He's a good fighter, man, and so that one win does stick out. I like the experience that Jordan Griffin has, and I like Jordan Griffin's style of fighting, so I tend to lean to those type of fighters. Sometimes it won't work out for me, but it'll be the wrong decision. But in this circumstance, I think Jordan Griffin's going to get it done. I think he's going to be able to keep it standing and outstrike. I'm going to go with the late sub or a decision victory. I'm taking Jordan Griffin to start it off. All right, next we got the minus 145 K Hansen versus J.U. Fry. I believe they've been saying, it looks like it's spelled Frey, but they've been saying Fry, so I'm going to go with that. The plus 125 Fry. Fry's the former Invicta champ. I did a little research on both of them. I didn't know too much about them going into this. And, I think the odds are good. Kay Hansen, she's only 20 years old, so Fry has much more experience. They got similar records, very similar records, except, Fry was the champ in another division, so... Yeah, you can't just sleep on that, even though she's the underdog. And I'm gonna go with the underdog. I'm gonna start it off early with an underdog, and I'm gonna go with the experience of Jin-Yu Fry to get it done. I'm gonna go with decision. All right. Next we got Takashi Sato versus Takashi Sato, the minus 130 favorite, versus Ramiz Brahmahish. Sorry if I butchered that. And that's the plus 110 underdog. Ramiz fights out of Fortis MMA. I was looking at his record, man, and he gets it done by submission. I believe every one of his wins was by submission. He has a couple losses, I think two or three losses, and he's looked pretty good. I could see why he's getting his call up right now. There's been a lot of call ups, especially on this card. There's been quite a few people making their debut. But UFC has been making quite a few call ups, and I can see why they're doing this with him. He's a strong grappler. And, he might be able to get that done against Takashi Sato. I like Takashi. He's a good fighter. He went the distance with Bilal Muhammad. And we saw what Bilal just did. And, Bilal's on a right track to the title, a title run. And Takashi went the distance with him. He looked good. And before that, he had a knockout, a KO over Ben Saunders. So, has a little experience in the UFC. Looked pretty good. I think Sato's going to be able to keep it up, defend the takedown, and I think he's going to pick him apart. Maybe not pick him apart. This could be a very good fight. It's almost a pick 'em. I'm going to go with Takashi Sato to get the win, though. All right, and next we got a good one for these prelims. We got the up-and-comer Sean Woodson, the minus 245 favorite over the plus 205 Kyle Nelson. Now, I think those odds should definitely be closer. I see why Sean Woodson's a favorite, and I'm leaning towards Sean Woodson as a favorite as well. I see why. He looked good on his contender fight. I believe it was a flying knee to get the win, and his first fight in the UFC, he did what he had to do to get a win. So he's looking good. UFC wise, and Kyle Nelson's a tough fighter. He's there to brawl. He's a banger. He beat Polo Reyes, which, a lot of Polo Reyes has been taking L's, so I don't know how much that says, but he won in that shootout. And, I like Sean Woodson in this position, man. I think he's the more technical fighter, and I think he's going to get it done. And he's big, man. He's a big dude. A lot of people say that they think he should move up or will eventually move up a weight class. But I like him to get it done in this position, so I'm taking Sean Woodson. And I'm gonna go TKO, second or third round TKO. All right, next we go to the big boys. We got some heavyweights. We got Felipe Lins, the minus 115 favorite, over Tanner Boser, the minus 105. So it's almost a pick 'em. Tanner's the slight underdog. So Tanner Boser, man, he lost to Cyril Gano or Gain, but man, he is a beast, and I talked about it in my Dark Horse episode. I think Cyril Gain is my Dark Horse, man. I think he's going to make a title run and eventually possibly be the champ in the heavyweight division. I like him, and so taking a loss to him doesn't not going to hurt him too much. Felipe Lins hasn't done too hot in the UFC, but he was the PFL champ, so I got to give respect to them. And that it's a pick 'em, so anyone could win here in the heavyweight division. It takes one punch, but I'm gonna go with Tanner Boser, man. I think Felipe is gonna try to keep him, push up against Boser, try to get him to the fence. And I think Boser's going to try to do the same. And I think Boser might just catch him. I don't know. I'm thinking a KO, but I'm taking Tanner Boser to get it done. All right, next, we got a couple more fights for this prelims. We got the plus 250 Mario Romero Borella versus the minus 300 Miranda Maverick. So Maverick's making her debut, UFC debut. She's a 7-2 with Invicta, and I watched some tape. I watched the tape, and I watched her fight versus Pearl Gonzalez, and she relies on the takedowns. She's a strong grappler. She was able to basically take Pearl down with ease. And got a decision. And against Borella, she's a tough opponent, but hasn't shown too much in the UFC. Man. Originally, when I saw it, I was like, well, we got to go with the experience, and I was leaning towards Borella, but then I actually did the research, watched a couple fights of Miranda Maverick, and I'm not saying Maverick, she needs some work. She's young, but I think her style will be able to do what she needs to do against Borella. And I think, she's going to have a bunch of takedowns. That's a good one for DraftKings. Watch out for that one. But I think she's going to take down Borella. I think her ground game is going to get it done. So I'm going to take Miranda Maverick to get it done. I'm going to go with decision. I could see a submission coming from Miranda, but I'm going to go with decision. All right, next we got one of my favorite fights of the night. Definitely could be the fight of the night in the lightweight division. We got the minus 270 Luis Pena versus the plus 230. Oh, man, I didn't think the odds were that bad. Comma worthy. Man, yeah, I think those should be a little bit closer. I am leaning with Luis Pena. I like him a lot, man. He's very long. He's that style that I was talking about that I do like as a fighter. I think he uses it perfectly with a lot of a lot of kicks, a lot of jabs. He keeps his distance, and he's very smart. His fight IQ, I think, is what's really going to get this done. And Worthy is coming off knockout. I think he took on a last minute fight, and he got it done. He was the underdog coming into that one, and he took care of business. Man, I think it should be a little closer because Worthy does have that punching power that can get it done. But I'm taking Luis Pena. I think he's gonna. I want to say TKO, but man, there might be a lot of decisions on this card. But I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with the TKO, Luis Pena to get it done. All right, now we're on to the main card. There's a couple good ones on this one, man. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 fights. So let's go through it. All right, we got the minus 235 Maurice Green versus John Villante, the plus 195. Yeah, 195. Okay. I see what they're doing. I see the odds. I think it should be a little bit closer. But Villante got that reach, a 76-inch reach. Maurice Green got the 80-inch reach. All right, I'm going with it, man. I'm taking Maurice Green to get it done. He's the upcomer. He's coming off 2 losses. His last one was to Olenek. He didn't look that good, man. So if Villante, if he plans on getting him to the ground, okay, I could see that. But I think it's going to be a standing up, banging type of fight. And I think Villante's he's going to get caught by Green, man. I could definitely be wrong on this one. Villante definitely can get it done. They're both on a losing streaks. Villante, in his last 6 fights, I think only won 2 fights. Maurice Green's a taller guy. With a longer reach, I think he's going to be able to stand up and bang with him, and I think he's going to get it done. So I'm taking Maurice Green to get the late stoppage. Let's go second round TKO. All right. And the next one's another really good fight. that I'm looking forward to. We got the minus 300 Brandon Allen versus plus 250 Kyle Dawkins. He's making his UFC debut as well, another newcomer, but he's 9-0, man. And he's a grappler. He's a tough grappler, and man, it's going to be a tough grappler on grappler. Who's stronger? I think Brandon Allen's a little bit stronger. Obviously, better competition. He's been in some good fights. He has the UFC experience. He's coming off a submission win over Kevin Holland, another fighter that I love. So, man, that looks great on your resume. And then his last fight was a KO over Blaydes. Man, Brandon Allen's on a run. He's looking good, and I think that's just too much for Kyle right now. I know he's undefeated, and but hey, man, they're testing Brandon Allen. They're giving him a grappler, not just a striker. They're giving him a good grappler that might be able to play that game, and it might not be good for Allen, but I'm going to take Brandon Allen to get it done. I'm going to take him to get... It could be a grappling fest, but I feel like he might get the sub. I'm thinking a late sub, third round sub for Brandon Allen. All right, then we got another banger, man. This is a good fight. Most people know these guys. We got the minus 310 Mike Perry versus Mickey Gall, the plus 255 underdog. So, all right, we'll start with Mickey Gall. He's a grappler. His stand-up's not that bad. He's known for getting wins over mediocre guys. That's all I can really say about Mickey Gall. He hasn't proven too much, even though he's winning. They're throwing these guys like CM Punk at him, and he's getting it done. He's doing what he's supposed to do, but it's not the same type of competition that Mike Perry's taking on. He just fought Luque, which a lot of people think he won. I kind of do too. Excuse me, but Mike Perry has taken on, the who's who. I think Mickey Gall is not going to be able to hang with them. I think these odds are correct, even though it could be a little bit closer, because if Mickey Gall has a chance to take his back, no doubt. I just don't see it, man. I think Mike Perry is actually really good on the ground. I think he had that grappling or jiu-jitsu match just recently, man. It was just recently. Who did he take on? Quinta? Yeah, I think that's who he took on, and he beat him, man. And that surprised me a little bit, but it's just showing he's not just that striker that everyone thinks he is and the brawler, but he's probably going to use that against Mickey Gall. If Mickey Gall tries to stand up with him too long, I think he's going to sleep. But you never know. Mickey Gall, like I said, could take that back. But I'm going to take the minus 310 favorite, Mike Perry, to get it done. And the only thing I have to say on the Mike Perry situation, I don't want to talk too much about the stuff going outside the cage, but it does partake. It matters. It matters when it comes to the fight game. But there's all this talk how his girlfriend's going to be cornering him. We've seen his ex-wife, in his corner before. So it's nothing new. He seems a little wild on Instagram, and we'll see, man. We'll see if this hurts him. The only thing is, even if she is training him or he's dropped coaches or something to that extent, I think he still is the better fighter and will get it done against Mickey Gall. Now, if he gets it done and he moves on, he might run into an issue. You need some coaching, solid coach, and, better corner in your life. We'll see how it goes. But I'm not getting too deep into that. I'm taking Mike Perry to get it done, and I'm thinking KO or TKO. I'm going to go. I want to say early, but I think Mickey Gall might survive. Second round. All right. And this is the main event. Been back and forth. This is one of those fights. We got the minus 220 favorite Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker, the plus 180. This fight, this whole card seems to be not all of them, but it seems a little off on the odds. I think this one should be closer. I'm thinking like minus 115 or something. It's maybe not. It's hard to, Dustin Poirier has the bigger name, better resume, so maybe give him slight edge, but it should be closer in the odds. For the odds, Dan Hooker and Dustin Poirier, especially for DraftKings situations. Dan Hooker, that's a good one, man, because if he gets it done, it's probably going to be by KO or just outstriking the whole time. Yeah, man, Dan Hooker. So he's the longer fighter. He's coming off the fight with Paul Felder, which I think Felder won, but I know that I'm biased because I had him on all my DraftKings cards and I needed that win. So it is what it is. I'm not, I was being biased that night. A lot of people say he won because they were fighting in his hometown. But yeah, man, that's not gonna matter here. I think he's going to come in and strike, and, he's going to try to find one of those knees on Poirier, but I think Poirier is just too smart. I think he's going to sit back. Man, he's durable. He is a durable fighter, so I think he's going to be able to take these long shots that Hooker's giving, and I think he's going to be able to trade some. So another path to victory that I see for Dan Hooker is those leg kicks, kind of like what Gaethje did to Poirier. Excuse me. Give him a bunch of leg kicks and, then, catch his chin eventually. But I think Dustin's going to be the smarter fighter. We've seen him in wars, man. We've seen him against the best as well. In Khabib, it's hard not to lean to Dustin in this situation. But, it's hard. You can't sleep on Hooker either. Man, so I was originally... No, I'm not going to say who I was originally leaning towards because right off the bat I knew it was going to be, anyone's fight, whoever shows up that night. But I'm going to stick with the slightly more proven Dustin Poirier to get the win. Man, I think he's going to catch Hooker. I don't know if I think it's going to be a similar war to like a war like Paul Felder versus Hooker, but I think Poirier is going to fight a little smarter than Felder did, and I think he's going to get it done, and I think he's going to possibly stop this late in the fight. Yeah, I just see Dustin Poirier the slightly better fighter right now, and I don't think. Just because he already had his title shot and run, I don't think he's fallen back too much. So I don't think this is going to be Dan Hooker coming in to make his run. Even though I think he's deserving, I think this is going to be a good fight, and I hope his stock doesn't drop too much because I hope he has another shot, another fight coming soon to get his shot to the title. But I'm leaning towards Dustin Poirier. I'm going to have both of them on DraftKings, man. This is a phenomenal fight. This is what MMA fighters love to see. This is going to be a good one, but I'm taking Dustin Poirier to get it done. So those are my picks, man. I'm going to go and find a couple underdogs really quick, that maybe you would like to put onto DraftKings or some bets. These are ones that they got a shot, man. First, I'm going to start with Kama Worthy. He's a plus 230. That's a pretty big underdog, and he can literally do it with one punch. I like that one. I could see me playing him a few times on DraftKings. That's going to be nice. Dan Hooker, obviously, like I said, that should be a 50-50 fight. That should be a closer fight at least. And I could see Dan Hooker getting it done, and he'll definitely pay out. And let me get like one more at least. That's almost a pick 'em. Kyle Nelson, man. Kyle Nelson could surprise everybody and knock out Sean Woodson. That would not surprise me. I like Kyle Nelson. I'll probably maybe have him on a play or two for DraftKings as well as Woodson. I think they both have possibility to get those high scores. And another one, I would say Tanner Boser, which is close to a pick 'em, but those are the heavyweights, so one punch can get it done. I could see Felipe Lins or Tanner Boser getting some good points for DraftKings. Man, this is my picks for UFC Fight Night Poirier versus Hooker. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I got Dustin Poirier tonight. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Scrapper Tap Podcast.